Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 250 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit, and get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. It is Saturday, March 22nd, 2025, and it's a gorgeous day out today. It was pretty overcast this morning, but now that we're mid-afternoon, it's cleared up, it's gorgeous out. So nice. I love this time of year so much. So if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for coming by and checking out my channel. I hope you enjoy it here and you come back for more shenanigans in upcoming weeks. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back for another week to see what I've been up to and what I've got done in the past week. I'm so happy to have each and every one of you here each and every week. It means the world to me. If you've not yet subscribed, please do. It helps my little channel get known, and it helps YouTube recognize that I exist. which is good. Anyway, like the video, comment, share with other people, hit the notification bell so you are notified when I put out a new video. All that good YouTube-y stuff. Be much appreciated. So this week has been good. I have a finished object. I have 2 new cast-ons, and I dyed a skein of yarn. So it's been a fun week. It's been a really fun week. So my finished object, they look all droopy on here because they're a little too big for the sock blockers and they keep sliding down. So I'm going to scooch them up to the top here. Stretch them out a little bit. They are the Gansy Adventure socks. It's a pattern by Zaliwa. I potentially have been butchering that name since I started these a while back. So these were a pair of warm-up socks that came out during Sock Madness, or Sock Madness 19. So the pattern came out in mid-February. No, beginning of February. And I just finished them the other day. But I started them and then I didn't really work at really high speed on them. But it was a fun pattern. You could pick how you wanted to do the cuff. So I chose to do knit 1 through the back loop, purl 1 around the cuff. And then you also had a choice on the toe. So I did the same toe as the cuff with the knit 1 through the back loop, purl 1 on the top of the foot or the top of the toe. The heel turn or heel flap, you also had a choice. I did a standard a slip stitch. Oh my gosh, words are not coming to me, and I've only been filming this for a couple minutes now. Scary times ahead, perhaps. Anyway, so it's a standard slip stitch heel flap. The heel turn was a little bit different, but I like it. And there were 3 different Gansy patterns you could take or choose from. There's the Path of Stars, Path of Waves, Water, Sea, Paths of, I think it was the sea and trees. So I did the stars at the top, and I did both socks the same, and I did the trees on the foot. So it was a fun knit. I enjoyed it. It took me a long time to finish them just because I put them aside to work on the competition, the qualifying round socks and the round 1 socks. So I put these aside to get those done. So again, they do look they are baggy on here. They fit fine, but they look baggy on here because when I'm two reasons why they're looking baggy. They were 70 stitch. I usually do a 64. And with the gansy pattern, with the extra, all the different purl stitches throughout, my purl stitches are looser than my knit stitches. So whenever I have a pattern that has a lot of purl stitches, it comes out bigger. It just, my gauge is larger with purl stitches. And where that one, I think it only came in the one, I think it only had the one size, 70 stitches. So probably I should have gone down a needle size, but I didn't have a smaller needle size. So we just went with it with 2.5 or 2.25 millimeter needles. And the yarn I used was yarn I dyed myself. It had been one that was sitting in that little cubby full of my hand-dyed yarns. It was sitting there for a while, so I used that one up, so that worked out well. Just drinking a cup of tea, and it's still warm. It's not hot. It's warm. So 2 new cast-ons since I saw you. And the first one is hiding in this little bag that I made for myself a while back. And these are, I apologize in advance, these are my 2 at a time toe-up sort of shorty socks, and they're mismatch. I'm sorry to those that don't like mismatch socks. But, so I don't have much done. I've done the toes. The toes are done in a solid color by Opal. I can't remember. I don't have the tag beside me to tell you what the color name is, but it's one of the grays. And then the feet, I just have a tiny bit done. So this is being made with my yarn I got with my Opal Advent Calendar from 2023. And with that one, I just poked my tummy with a knitting needle. Oh boy. This was made with 2 of the yarns that I still have from my 2023 Opal Advent Calendar, where I had 24 different 20-gram skeins of yarn. And I'm working my way through it. So I just randomly grabbed two of the bags out of the box that I have with them sitting in. And it was 18 and 20. I'm getting closer to halfway through these. I really would like to finish knitting up all 24 of the mismatched socks before 2025 is done. I really do want to get that done. I was hoping to get it done last year. Clearly that didn't happen, but I am really hoping to get that finished this year. Several of you had commented that I should use the green yarn I dyed myself because it was the day before St. Patrick's Day, or a couple of days, it was almost St. Patrick's Day. Never even thought of that. I had already cast on and I had caked up the 2 Opal, and then I was reading some people's comments, and I'm just like, oh, I never even thought of that. Oh my goodness, I'm not Irish, you can tell. But I should have used the green for St. Patrick's Day socks. Never thought of it. It was a missed opportunity. Oh well. And so those I cast on, I got started on those on Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, and worked on them a bit, but I wanted to get the Gansy Adventure socks finished. So I only worked on the socks mostly on Sunday, and then I switched over to the Gansy Adventure socks, finished those, and Thursday morning or Thursday early afternoon, was it Thursday? Yes, on Thursday what was I working on Sunday or on Wednesday? I think I finished the Gansy Adventure socks on Wednesday or very early Thursday. That's right. very early on Thursday morning, I bound off the toe, or did the Kitchener on the toe. And when you saw them last, I just took the markers out, but I was partway along the foot on each of these when you last saw them. So I had a fair little bit to get done during the week. So it was on Thursday morning when I finished the Gansy Adventure socks. So then they had put out the specs for round 2 of Sock Madness, and the specs for round 2 suggested they said self-striping would be highly recommended. But they said you could also probably make it work with those really wildly variegated skeins of yarn. So Thursday morning, I should have done it on Wednesday, but I dawdled. I decided to dye a skein of yarn that would be it matches my shirt. Perfect. Anywho, so I dyed a skein of yarn. It's not self-striping, but it's the way it's dyed. About half of the hank was dyed in the orange, or salmon is the actual color name, and half of it I left bare. And this is done up so nicely into a skein that I don't want to, or a hank that I don't want to undo it. But it's dyed where roughly half of the skein, or half of the cake of yarn, was put in the dye bath, and you can see where it kind of fades into where it goes from the orange to the white, or the bare. So I had initially thought I might use this yarn to do the round 2 socks, but the pattern came out and my yarn was still damp. So I thought, I can't cake it up when the yarn it was actually a little more than damp. It was more on the wet side. So this is all set and ready for me to use for something else at a later date. So what I did do instead is, since my yarn was still damp, I went rooting through my stash to look for something that was self-striping and in a larger skein, so that I would have enough. I have a couple 50-gram skeins of self-striping, but that might not have been enough. So I went rooting through my stash and I found a skein of this Bernat, or Bernat, however you pronounce it, socks. And it's 100 grams, and the color is pink camouflage. So you need this color. What you can do, the sock calls for 2 colors, the main color and a contrasting color. And it does say in the instructions that you can use, the contrasting color can be the same as the main color. I'm holding out until I see pictures of the socks finished where somebody has done that and they've used just one color yarn, or one skein of yarn for the entire sock. And before I pass judgment and add the contrast color. Worst case scenario, I will finish probably almost 2/3 of both socks, and then I can switch to decide what I'm going to do with the contrast color. Now, these socks are an unusual construction. And when I was talking to my mom, I cast it on Thursday afternoon. I spent more time than was probably necessary reading through the pattern, trying to get straight in my head what on earth we were doing. I still don't understand what on earth we're doing because it's a wonky construction. But I'm just going to trust the pattern. They say that repeatedly during Sock Madness, trust the pattern. It's starting to make a little more sense now that I have a little bit done. But when I was talking with my mom on Facebook Messenger Thursday evening, I showed her what I had done. She asked if the next round had started. So I told her it had, and I showed her what I had, and she says, "That's going to be a sock?" And I showed my husband it later on after I had done a bit more on it and showed it to him. And said, "Mom said that would be a sock," and he goes, "I agree." Like, that was going to be a sock? Trust the pattern. And it is an unusual construction. So here's where I am so far. It's on 2 needles. One has stitches on hold for the time being where you did the cast on. And so this is the cast on edge here. And then you go from there. It's on the bias, and this part here, this end here is, or will be, the cuff at some point. So this part will be the cuff, and this part is going to come around the leg somehow. I think. So you're working this on the bias. So you're going along like so. This is the working end, and just going back and forth. So I've finished chart 1, and I think there's 5 charts, 4 or 5 charts. I'm ready to start chart 2, which is going to, I think, take it a little bit farther and longer going this way again. Because I think this might be the part where we go into, like, this might be part of the heel, coming into the heel flap. Maybe? I don't know. I'm very confused. You guys, you seriously will have to come back next week to find out how this becomes a sock. So basically based on what the picture looks like, I'll try to put a picture here of what the finished sock looks like. But you have the cuff, and then you have this zigzag pattern going diagonally, and they're mirrors on the right and left sock. You have this diagonal coming along around the foot. The main color is done down the leg and along the top of the foot. Then you join in the contrast color and you do the heel turn, heel flap and heel turn, the bottom of the foot and the toe, the toe. The picture will show you what the finished product is going to look like. So I understand why they say self-striping is the best option for these. Because even with mine, it's still showing the zigzaggy pattern nicely with my yarn, but possibly not as dramatic a look as it would have been with longer repeats on the striping. So like a standard self-striping yarn might have 5 to 6 rows in each color. It's gonna look neat when it's done. I have not yet decided on my contrast color. So again, they say the contrast color, so the bottom of the foot can be the same. It's just that the stripes are going to be going in, instead of going zigzaggy, they're going to be going straight back and forth. So I'm curious to see somebody finish their socks using only one yarn. Or what I might do is just go rooting through my stash and find another. I find that this yarn is a tiny bit heavier than some sock yarns. It's not, I don't think it qualifies as a heavy sock yarn, but I think I have some blue in that yarn. So I might have to go digging through my yarn stash and find the blue, because I think the blue would be fine as a contrast color to do the sole. Stay tuned next week and find out how on earth this comes together. And there's already several people have finished these things. The pattern has been out for just barely over 48 hours. Came out on Thursday around, I think, 1 in the afternoon, and it's about 3 in the afternoon on Saturday. And the first one was finished sometime yesterday. It literally boggles my mind. Seriously, it boggles my mind how on earth they can knit an entire pair of socks in a day and a half. They must not sleep. They must have hands of steel that can... They don't have achy hands like mine. They don't have problems with their hands and wrists like I do. So, blows my mind. Very much blows my mind. I would seriously love to watch... the fastest ones knit any pair of socks. I would love to see, especially these ones that are somewhat more complicated. Now this pattern, they look like they're complicated. The pattern is actually very straightforward if you just sit down, shut up, and trust the pattern. It's very straightforward once you get into the rhythm. So now once I get into the second chart, it's going to be the same type of design with where you're doing the ripple type zigzaggy stitch. I don't think that's not the chevron. That's a fancier name for it. But anyway, it's a straightforward pattern. It just looks complicated because of it looks complicated when you look at the finished product. But I'm eager to get the first one done. I'm eager to see if they fit my feet. That's one of the issues I have with Sock Madness, is frequently the socks don't fit me. And that, I'm okay with that. I can live with that. I don't care. So I will find someone that they will fit. Or I'll donate them, or I'll just put them in a drawer and admire them. I'm fine with that. So that has been my week. Work is going well. Settling into the second half of the semester. The load has lightened up a fair bit. I do have a thing. I probably am going to have to film my video for next week. I'll probably film it on Friday and post it on Saturday, because on Saturday morning I have a function on campus that I have to be at, and that's from, I think, like 10 to 11 or 9:30 till 10:30 or something like that. 9 to 11 or 10 to 11, I think it is. And then once that's done, I have to go back, pick up the hubby at work, and then we have to drive up about an hour's drive from both our works. We've got a funeral that we need to. We have a funeral that we're going to on Saturday. The funeral's at 2 o'clock. So if I'm done at 11, that'll give us an hour's driving time. I'll probably grab a quick lunch somewhere along the line and head up for this funeral. It's somebody my husband knows, the wife of somebody my husband knows through work, and we both knew her fairly well. But it is, we do want to go to the funeral and represent our church as well. But so we have that on Saturday afternoon. So the funeral's at 2, and then the visitation with the family and whatnot afterwards. So we probably won't be home till, I'm guessing, not till after 5 o'clock. I really don't think we'll be home much before 5. So I'm not going to have time to get the filming done on Saturday. And I'm not doing it early in the morning. Probably, and highly unlikely. So I will be filming, so I'll have one day less knitting time to show you for next week, but I should have plenty of time this week to get a lot of knitting done. Although the vast majority of my knitting time is going to be spent working on trying to turn this thing into a sock. So come back next week and see how that turns into a sock. Olive is curious too. She wants to know how that's going to be a sock. Okay, I apparently am starting to crack up here, so I am going to get going. I'll get the editing done, and I will see you guys again in a week. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.